You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI. Oh, how about a microphone? Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk's MLB update. How's everybody doing? We returned last week after, almost a month's hiatus probably. We're glad to be back, and we'll be back often during this hot stove season. Lots to talk about today and probably throughout the winter. We'll take a few weeks here and there. I got another vacation coming up the end of January. So we'll take a few weeks off, and we'll see how that goes. But welcome everybody watching today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the groups that allow us to share. Our favorites at the bottom: John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings from America's Pastime, the Love of Baseball. Got a little cough today. I apologize. Flo and Ken over there at Bottom Line Sports. Check them out. I shared their show from this past Tuesday. Check it out. Great stuff. I think they have their official affiliation with Let's Talk Sports, who's also a good friend of this show. We don't broadcast live on their platform. We do, however, share it to their Facebook page later on, and we appreciate that. Ken Krause at Golf Buds, sports of all sorts. And a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland. Most specifically, in my case, I guess, the Sports Corner every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. We've been a guest there many times and always enjoyed our interactions with Ralph and Smokin' Jim over there. And, of course, we are broadcasting live now. You heard the National Streaming Sports promo. We'll hope to get a new one done shortly, but we're now have rebranded to the McGrath Streaming Podcast Project, and we're happy to make that change and honor our good friend Mac McGrath. So thumbs up to Mac, thumbs up DDH too. So you'll see more and more logos, maybe a few more intros in the coming days. We'll talk to you about that. Coming weeks, coming months, whatever. But we're proud to still be affiliated with the people that we have been. I do the show with Jack Hirsch, of course, Mondays and Fridays at 8 a.m. Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. Enjoy working with Jack immensely. He can be handfuls sometimes, but we have a lot of fun. And we still do our shows, the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, this show, the College Football Huddle. Thinking about putting an NFL show together, too. We'll see how that goes. And then we do some panel work with the Unprofessional Professional Sports Show and the Big Football Show, also on the National Streaming Sports Show. Brian, James, Sonia, Bo, Tip, who else? And others. Frank Laterzo and Jack do their glove fists. So lots of great shows, and there's others that, quite frankly, I probably don't even know about. So check out as we continue to rebrand this and find new outlets for it. We appreciate your guys' help, and I appreciate your support for my shows as well. Lots to talk about here today, I'll tell you for sure. Scott Kobe. Good afternoon, Mr. Kobe. Alonso to the Orioles, very interesting. Can he pitch? They need bats, though, too. I mean, their young bats really failed them, I think, a lot last year. And I think, listen, I'm not the biggest Pete Alonso fan in the world. We're going to get into this a little bit and how it affects the Mets. Pete Alonso is more valuable to the Mets than he is to anybody else. Similar, not the same, by the way. I'm not saying they're the same player. Similar to Judge was more valuable to the Yankees. Alonso would be more valuable to the Mets, but they don't see it that way. Legacy players, as Jack likes to call them. But we'll talk about that. No, he can't pitch. They still need pitching, but I've heard some rumors of them in the market for some pitchers. Now, this affects the Mets big time. Between them losing Diaz and Alonso back-to-back days, Schwarber signing with the Phillies. So the Phillies are maintaining at least the strengths that they have, and they'll make more moves. The Braves bring in Suarez, shore up that bullpen, step number one in their offseason. Mike Yastrzemski too, but a much smaller move. The Mets are behind the eight ball. Again, other than on the free agent market, other than Cody Bellinger, this is good for Bellinger, bad for the Yankees. Another player. The Mets will become a player for Bellinger if they weren't before they are now because they need a first baseman. And there's no other first baseman in this free agent market. So we'll talk about that some more. What the Mets might do from here. We'll talk about Diaz to the Dodgers. And the Dodgers just seem to have a bottomless pit of money. And God bless them for it. Hall of Fame voting last week. I don't think we had a chance to get into it. It was last week, right? I don't think I lost a week. Hope Donnie Mattingly doesn't get in again. Jeff Kent does, I think, deservingly so. But I think Mattingly and Murphy also deserving. Carlos Delgado, not so much, gets more votes than Mattingly. Go figure. People just look at numbers. I mean, again, Mattingly's cumulative numbers look pale in comparison to some guys because of the injuries at the end of his career, middle of his career, at his peak of his talent. So we can talk about that. We can talk about the upcoming WBC if you want. We'll look at the managers. I don't think we've really taken a good look at the managers that have been replaced. We'll look at some trade prospects. It looks like Tariq Skubal will get traded. He'll bring a big package, man. I don't think he's coming to New York. I have a theory, too, about why New York. And again, we didn't see a ton of movement. We'll go through the movement at the winter meetings. Not a ton. I still think for several reasons we may see a slow free agent, and maybe even a trade market because of the concerns about the labor situation. I've got a theory, too, about the New York Mets and Yankees situation, bringing in free agents and why it might be tough. Maybe even trading for guys if they have a say in their future. But we'll see what they say. Good afternoon, Rick. Sorry, guys. I've had this cough now for about a week since I picked up the cat at the vet. 2 weeks, I guess, I've had this cough. Kennel cough, I think I picked up while I was there. I don't know if a human can get kennel cough, but I'm pretty sure I got it. No, it's just a dry. Ugh. If I do an NFL show, please let me know. I'd love to be a part of it, if that would be okay. Scott, if I do something, I even consider, even though I don't work with co-hosts a lot, I might consider having one. So I haven't decided what I want to do, what nights. Again, I'm trying not to get too many shows going, but I feel an itch to do something that's NFL specific, right? It's the only sport, well, the NBA, but is that really a sport? I'm sorry. It's December, and I have trouble getting into hockey and basketball till we get to the first of the year or past the Super Bowl even. But if I do something, I'll let you know. I don't know when I want to do it. Jack is warming up to me. He offered me an extra standing outside his movie. What's Jack going to be a movie? What's he going to do? Right here. If you show up at Jack's house waiting for you, I'm going to start sound effects more. I have a lot of fun doing that stuff. Okay, we got lots of toys to play with. Anyway, here let's take a look at quickly at the free agent market. Thus far, again, pretty slow. Yankees and Mets. So Alonso never makes the Mets never make Alonso an offer. They were never going to 5 years, $155 million. They were never going to 5 years, probably at any price. I think that Diaz going to the Dodgers. The other big free agents that are out there, Kyle Tucker, I don't see him signed it in New York with the Mets or the Yankees. Skubal's going to have a right probably to pick where he goes, and I think it's in his contract. He has at least partial no trade. Think about this, and again, I don't want to get into a huge political discussion, but just in a general sense, with the unknown in New York City, where your money's involved. Why would you sign a big contract when there are people there that want to redistribute your wealth? running the operation. And by the way, there are New York City specific taxes you have to worry about. So I'd be concerned. So it might play into it. Again, I'm not looking to get into a huge discussion. I'm just wondering if that won't play into people's decisions to maybe stay away from the city of New York here, at least in the short term, until they see how things hash out. That the labor issues. Well, the Dodgers are in on everybody, man. It's going to take a bunch to get them they got a lot of pitching to move with the Dodgers. Every one of them's got some kind of arm ailment, though, right? I mean, the guy I heard, Glasnow, well, the only real name I heard as far as name players was Glasnow. And he's had his own arm injuries over the last several years through his career. Great pitcher when he's healthy. There's no way Scooble's not getting traded, by the way. The last thing I read about their negotiations in Detroit is that they're $250 million apart. That's not a little bit of money, guys. You know, Jack and I talk a lot about when you get into the tens of millions of dollars, you know, do you just forfeit some money to go someplace you want to be and you think is a better fit than another place. And I think, you know, once you get into generational wealth, it doesn't matter. But $250 million is not something you're going to forfeit. My chair is starting to sink. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. There's a lot of other trade prospects, but let me go through some of the moves that we've seen. Some of these are bigger than others, obviously. Just today, we had Mikhail Garcia and the Royals are finalizing a 5-year contract extension. We mentioned earlier, Robert Suarez goes to the Braves for 3 years and $45 million. Nice move for the Braves. They already wrapped up Iglesias as well. I think that really fortifies the back end of that bullpen. They can focus elsewhere. They do need some help in several areas. But some guys getting healthy, you know, they're going to get Acuna returning to health, hopefully. They'll get Riley returning to health, hopefully. There's several other guys who had off years that I think they can still count on coming back. I don't think the Braves are going to make huge splash here to, you know, to get back at the top of the NL East. They also signed Mike Yastrzemski, Carl's nephew, to a 2-year, $23 million deal that includes an option, a club option for a 3rd year. Nice role player. He's played well at, you know, not a guy you want in your lineup every day, but the Braves been good about finding these types of guys, the Jack Petersons, the Duvals, the George Solers, through their really good years where they made runs at World Series and won them. So good move there. We talked about Alonso. Now the Mets have some problems. The Pirates and left-handed reliever Gregory Soto agreed on a 1-year, $7 million contract. Edwin Diaz, we talked about signed with the Dodgers, 3 years, $69 million. Schwarber stays in Philadelphia, 5 years, $150, very close to what Alonso signed for, and they field very similarly. Schwarber doesn't play in the field at all, and he's about as good as Alonso when he is in the field. The Angels acquired Vaughn Grissom from the Red Sox. Red Sox really could have used Alonso, right? They may have missed out here. And the Orioles now, with fairly new management in place, ownership in place, look like they might want to spend some money. Scott's jab at the top was correct. They do need to find pitching, and Alonso does not pitch. And I'm not a big Alonso fan. In a place like Baltimore, I think it's a big move. Unless he turns into Chris Davis, right? And then we got a different situation. Where else? Steven Matz. Didn't even know he was still pitching, quite frankly, in the Tampa Bay Rays. Agreed on a 2-year contract. Soraka and the Diamondbacks agreed on a 1-year deal. The Nationals traded Jose Ferrer, not the actor. His name isn't Ferrer. I think I'll just say Ferrer for now. To Seattle for a catching prospect, Harry Ford. Red Sox acquired Ovidio, which we talked a little bit about last week. I think a nice deal for the Red Sox. He was a key player coming to Boston in this 5-player trade. And they give up, I will not even try this guy's last name. I told you this last week, Scott. But his last name is Garcia. That's easy enough for me. Cedric Mullins agrees to a 1-year deal with the Rays, and we'll leave it there because I know we talked about the rest of this last week. Been a little quiet, though. Good afternoon, JB. Check out JB's Back It Up Binge podcast on YouTube. Does some great stuff. I was watching a bunch of your interviews this past week, JB. I apologize. I realized I hadn't subscribed to the channel on YouTube. I thought I had, and I didn't, but I did while I was there this week, and I watched a bunch of your old interviews. Had a lot of fun doing that. Great job. Great job for sure. And all you guys, by the way, who watch this show, please make sure you go to TGI Sports Talk and hit the follow button. Not just a like button, but the follow button. We have more likes than we have follows, and the follows are important to me. So I appreciate it if you would do that if you haven't already. Some people say they've done it, and then I see they're not following me. So I don't know what the deal is. That's a Facebook thing. And we're never going to get Facebook straight. Apologies, JB says, for being late, but I had to corral a polar bear in Baltimore. That's a good line right there. Well done, my good friend. That's the Met fans. What can you do? Mets are in tough shape, man. They trade. Listen, I think the Nemo trade's going to hurt them, coming back and bite them. Simeon, I think, is 5 years younger, roughly, maybe 4. But Nemo's coming off a better year, up and down. He's had some injury issues, but he's very popular in New York. He's going to go to Texas, and he stays healthy. He's going to hit more home runs. And I'm not sure if Simeon's going to bounce back or not at second base for the Mets. They have a hole there. And I got a hole now at first base. Maybe second base they've filled. Third base, still up in the air. We don't know whether Vientos is going to be the real deal, or last year. Maybe was last year the real guy, or was 2 years ago? Brett Batty. Inconsistent. The outfield, suddenly a question mark. That's why the Mets are in play for Cody Bellinger. The Mets are in play for Kyle Tucker. Are the things that I mentioned earlier about the political landscape in New York going to hinder the Mets and Yankees from signing free agents? I don't want to. I'm not trying to go down a political street here. I'm approaching this from a sports prospect. You can believe whatever you want on the political spectrum. I don't disassociate from anybody. I don't unfriend people. I don't ban them from my show. I don't not show their comments. But this isn't I don't mean this from a political standpoint. But the fact is, there's a Democratic socialist coming into power in New York in New York City, which, by the way, the taxes are pretty hefty just in the city alone, much less the rest of our state. When you got a guy talking about redistribution of your wealth, it kind of makes you wonder whether you want to play or live there. So, I don't know. We'll see. Or he'll still have holes filled with starters. Can't have Dean Kremer as your number 3, Povich as number 4. Now, listen, I agree 100%. I do like Bradish. I do like Trevor Rogers. I've always liked Trevor Rogers. But his team certainly has a lot of work to do with the pitching staff. But again, it wasn't just pitching that killed this team last year, right? It was hitting. The young guys did not hit the way that we expected them to. I think Alonso coming in there, solidifying that first base position in the middle of that order. I'm not a huge fan necessarily, as I said. I don't like his defense. But I think he could be a good influence on the rest of those kids, the Jackson Holidays, the Gunnar Hendersons, those guys. I think he will have a positive effect on those guys, and I think the Baltimore offense will bounce back next year. And I think this signals that the Orioles, JB, you can tell me what the mood there is in Baltimore, but it signals to me that ownership is ready to spend money. I hope it's well spent. That's all. I mean, I'm well versed. Not well versed. I'm well known for saying that, Alonso is just, Dave Kingman here in 2026 coming up. He's a little better than that. Not a lot. But fun guy to have on your team for sure. Taylor Ward and Alonso, pretty good power. Taylor Ward. Yeah, Taylor Ward coming in from California, too, good power. Low batting average. Again, hopefully they don't turn into Chris Davis, right? Then again, no ABC or baseball. Yeah, I get it. Ward had a decent year with the Angels. Again, average-wise, no. Lots of strikeouts in the middle of that order with those two guys. But I think it's more exciting to be a Oriole fan than a Met fan today. Steve Cohen says, don't worry, we got a plan. I don't know what it is. And again, all of this, bad news for the Yankees, good news for Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger now, to me, becomes one of the top guys on the board. Him and Kyle Tucker. The Yankees, they're not going to overpay for Cody Bellinger, I don't think. I love Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is a 5-tool player, 6 tools, because baseball acumen should mean something. Not a lot of teams worry about baseball acumen when they acquire guys. That's quite clear. Take a look at Gleyber Torres, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But Cody Bellinger is really a 6-tool player when you factor in baseball acumen. Great player. Great situational baseball player. Yankees are going to have lots of competition. The Dodgers want him back. The Cubs want him back. The Mets are going to be in play. I wouldn't doubt the Red Sox are in play. Along with other teams. Price tag's going up. And the other red flag was Bellinger's. What's up with, he's got, the last 3 years have been pretty good. His year last year, very good in New York. And again, he showed he can play in New York, which is very important. But very odd careers. First 3 years in LA, really good, outstanding even in some cases. His middle 3 years, he was among the worst players in baseball. And then he bounced back with 3 really solid years. Not sure what happened. I don't know if it was injuries, what, those middle 3 years of his career, but, it was ugly there for a while. Ownership in Baltimore is spending. He's a native of Baltimore, wants to deliver. There you go. Sometimes new ownership, and I know there was some frustration last year with him not spending money, but I think they just wanted to see what they had. And I do like the way their approach to the game. I like. We'll see how the new manager works out there. And I did want to review the changes to managers this year, by the way, too, before we go today. What else? We were talking about trades and some of the bigger guys available in trades. We know that Scooble's at the top of that market. It seems every year Ketel Marte is in this chatter. He's getting older. If he's going to get moved, it ought to be now. Interesting, first time the Yankees are not in this conversation. The Mets are, the Pirates are, the Giants are, the Phillies are, the Mariners are, even the Royals and A's are. Freddie Peralta with the Brewers, very reliable pitcher. Had some injury issues last year, but a very reliable pitcher. Mets interested. Orioles, again, Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, 2 guys I think, and Hunter Green I think might be in this mix as well. Guys, the Mets and the Orioles, got teams like that ought to be looking at. I like these guys a lot. The teams that fit here also listed are the Rangers, the Giants, the Astros, the Diamondbacks, the Padres. The normal suspects. Again, the Orioles ought to be in play for all these guys. Hunter Green. Brian Buxton on the market again. He was on the market at the trade deadline. Did show a little bit better health last year. he's a standout player when he's healthy. But you're taking a gamble on him. Mets will probably be interested because they need help in the outfield. The Braves will probably be in on him, I would say. He's their type of player, I think, and the kind of acquisition they go after. Joe Ryan is a guy I like a lot, currently with the Twins. I think the Yankees ought to be in play here. I know the Red Sox are. I know the Mets are. The Mets tried to get him at the trade deadline last year. The Orioles, again, will be interested. All the teams that need pitching are going to be interested in all the pitchers we mentioned here. Jaron Duran. He's a really good player. He runs well. He's got a good arm. He's got all the physical tools. I'm not sure about his baseball acumen, again, talking about that. But you're going to see some teams interested in him if the Red Sox are serious about trading him. Pablo Lopez, another pitcher that I like a lot with the Twins. The Yankees don't seem to be in on starting pitchers, unless it's Skubal maybe. But I think with what they have, they should be looking for some more depth. We don't know how Cole's going to bounce back. Heel was hurt a lot of last year. Rondon's going to be out to miss the season starter. You can't rely on Will Warren and Schlittler and who knows what else. I think they need depth there, and they need to be in on at least one of these guys in my mind. Mackenzie Gore, big name up, left-handed relief pitcher with the Nationals. Yankees are in play here. I think the Dodgers will come into play here unless, again, they got Diaz. They have Tanner Scott, who they hope will bounce back from the left side. But I would see the Orioles, Rangers, same suspects involved here. Stephen Kwan, outfielder for the Guardians. Don't think there's a high chance he gets traded, but again, he's a high IQ guy, really good defensive player. Not a lot of pop, but he puts the ball in play and a good situational baseball player if there's any teams out there that actually care about that. Brendan Donovan with the Cardinals also has played really well, plays a lot of positions. I think the Yankees are interested in him as a bat off the bench, as are the Dodgers, as are the Mariners, Red Sox, all the big players, plus the Royals and the Pirates. Pirates swinging big, looking for power hitters, not really coming through yet. C.J. Abrams, the rumors are that he could be on the block. By the way, that brings up the Yankees this week have kind of changed their tune a little bit on Volpe and said there could be some competition in the spring for that shortstop job. He's going to be hurt in the spring. Don't be surprised if the Yankees find a way to see if they can live without Volpe and potentially trade him once he shows he's healthy. Weiler Abreu, the future Hall of Famer. Where's AC? I need to see more from this guy. He's a really good fielder. I don't know that I don't think he runs that well. I don't think he runs the bases that well. He's got really, really good power and some patience. So he fits the, 3 true outcome approach. He's coming into his age 27 season, which is usually a good sign for players. I know that Drew has pointed out in the past that number is not accurate anymore. I'm still using that number though. He'll be, if they put him on the block like Duran, there'll be plenty of suitors. Chris Bubik, left-hand pitcher with the Royals. Small chance he gets traded, I think. Again, teams with pitching will be looking to look at him. Yandy Diaz with the Rays. The Rays may be looking to do a total rebuild here soon rather than a reboot that they like to do. Wilson Contreras with the Cardinals, first baseman. Very, I think, unlikely he gets traded. Brandon Lowe, I think there's a better chance of getting traded than some of the guys on this list who are rated lower. A little bit of pop. He's got some versatility, plays second base, can play the outfield. Again, Padres, Giants, Marlins interested. Speaking of the Marlins, Edward Cabrera, another right-hand pitcher available. There's a lot of right-handed, or a lot of starting pitching available in the trade market if you're willing, to give up some assets. The guys I've all mentioned are all positive impact players in anybody's rotation that I've talked about. Yankees even interested in Cabrera, not somebody other. He should be interested in Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan a lot. I like Pablo Lopez a lot. And I like Edward Cabrera right in that group, quite frankly. I don't want to give up what it's going to take to get Skubal, quite frankly. Not when I've got all these other guys out there who I can get for a whole lot less. Mitch Keller, who I've never really fell in love with the Pirates, very high likelihood of getting traded. Interestingly enough, the teams interested in trading the contenders that we've talked about so far, probably not interested. Jake Cronenworth, great positional diversity. We use that word in the best possible term on this show, unlike other places. But nobody's showing any interest except bottom feeders or middle feeders, if you will. I shouldn't really disparage the Marlins and the Royals and the Pirates. Luis Robert still available. The White Sox have wanted to hold on to him, but I don't know how much longer they can wait. By the time they get good again, he's not going to be that young. They do have several suitors for him. Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. Orioles, Rangers, Giants will be in play there. That's just some of the players that I wanted to chat about today being on the market. And we'll see. Brady Singer, also Alec Baum. It's funny. I like Baum, but Phillies feel like they've been trying to trade him since his hot start a couple of years ago. Jeff McNeil on that list. Problems in New York. Jeff McNeil always seems to be in the middle of them. Lindor as well. But I think there's some problems in that locker room in New York. And maybe that's why Alonso and Diaz went out. Remember, Diaz never even let the Mets make an offer, and the Mets decided not to make an offer to Alonso. Maybe there's problems in that locker room that were covered up this year, and we didn't hear about them the way we did a couple years ago. JB, as a side note, you mentioned my interviews. Just posted a new one with Tom Chorsk, a great NHL player, won a cup with the Devils. There you go. Good one. JB with some good stuff. Check them out. Just read the Red Sox talking to Cardinals about Wilson Contreras. They need a first baseman. I mean, Cassis isn't going to get it done, right? Out most of last year. I'm not terribly impressed with his game. He's a good fielder. I feel like he's a plus fielder, but not going to give you a lot with the bat. Hello, AC. There's the what's going on in MLB? I just covered it all in half an hour, dude. Alonso signs with the Orioles. Diaz with the Dodgers. That's all you need to know from a New York standpoint. Boston misses out on Alonso. Robert Suarez signs with the Braves. Mike Yastrzemski signs with the Braves, and Kyle Schwarber re-signs with the Phillies. Those are the big stories so far. Skubal's on the block. Whether the Red Sox are a challenger there, I really don't know. I forgot about Sonny Gray. That's a good one. I'd missed Sonny Gray earlier. No, we are not missing him because I hope those aren't tears. I hope that's laughing tears because Sonny Gray is one of those guys who pitches. Again, there's a ton of them. I'm 65 years old. I have watched so many guys be able to pitch great elsewhere and come here and either get hurt or can't pitch. Sonny Gray pitches great everywhere except New York. Lance Lynn pitched great everywhere except New York. Ed Whitson pitched great everywhere except New York. Kevin Brown, Randy Johnson. You want me to go on? Bye, Sonny. Sonny also, by the way, if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm really happy about the fact that Sonny says he kind of manipulated the Red Sox a little bit by pretending the Yankees were interested in acquiring him. Very honorable guy. Good pitcher, though, outside of New York. And out of the Patriots, I must tell a joke. Why was the snowman smiling? He saw the snowblower. December 12th is the date of the infamous snowblower game when the Patriots, coached by Ron Meyer at the time, not Bill Belichick, for you, bandwagon jumpers. This was back in 1982, I want to say. You can correct me if I'm wrong. 1982. They had a guy on work release who was running a snowblower around the stadium during a snowstorm, and Ron Meyer sent him out to clear a spot for John Smith to kick a field goal to beat the Don Shula and the Dolphins. I never seen Don Shula so irate. Good stuff. You know what, though? Listen, he's pitched well every other place he's been. He pitched well in Cincinnati. He pitched well in St. Louis. He pitched well in Oakland before the Yankees ever got him. So if I'm a Red Sox fan, I think it's a positive move right now until he proves differently. But we are not crying a river that he's not a Yankee again, believe me. And the Yankees had no interest in him. I think it's hilarious that he portrayed that he did, for sure. So interesting stuff. What did I write up here? I think I wrote that. I think I talked about that. Well, let me see what else is going on here. The managerial moves I didn't talk about. We haven't really covered those, so let me go through those quickly. No change in Arizona. Walt Weiss, the new manager of the Braves, I think well-deserved. Walt Weiss, a really good defensive shortstop and okay bat for the time with the A's and then the Braves. Managed a bit in Colorado with no chance to win. I think he's a really good replacement for Brian Schnitker, and we wish him well. No change in Cincinnati or Chicago. Warren Schaefer, who was the interim when Bud Black got fired, got the permanent job with Colorado, so he's a dead man walking. No changes in Miami or Milwaukee. No changes with the Mets. No changes with Phillies, although interesting enough, Don Mattingly brought in by Rob Thompson to be his bench coach. Cheers to Mr. Rob Thompson, who we wish was a Yankee manager. Bringing in Donnie Baseball to be his bench coach. We like that a lot. Don Kelly, the new manager in Pittsburgh, taking over for fired Derek Shelton, who now is the manager of Minnesota. Craig Stammen, with no experience whatsoever, hired by the Padres, a head-scratching move by the Padres. Tony Vitello, I don't think a head-scratching move. I think thinking outside the box, unless this guy's a big analytics guy, I'm not sure where he'll go. Tony Vitello has been a really well-regarded college coach. A lot of longtime baseball people in an uproar because he hasn't paid his dues. Craig Stammen hasn't paid his dues. I don't see Joe Madden getting mad about that. Come on, give the guy a chance. I think it's an interesting move by the Giants, and we'll see whether that translates into more of this. We don't see it on a baseball level. We see it in football and basketball all the time. Somehow Oliver Marmol is still the manager of the Cardinals. I'm not sure how. Blake Butura takes over the moribund Washington franchise. In the American League, no change in Oakland / Sacramento. Sorry. The Orioles hire Craig Albernaz to replace Brandon Hyde. We'll see how he makes out. No change in Chicago. Will Venable was here last year. Obviously, no change in Cleveland or Detroit. No change in Houston. No change in Kansas City. The Angels hire Kurt Suzuki, former catcher with the Cardinals. 1 year deal. 1 year deal. Already putting the handcuffs on the guy. Jack doesn't believe in the fact that you can't be lame duck. There are lame duck issues with coaches in baseball, football, basketball. Unfortunately, no change in New York. Aaron Boone will come back and not miss out on the World Series again. Dan Wilson, we know, is there, staying there in Seattle. No change in Texas. I'm sorry, in Tampa Bay. Texas did hire Skip Schumacher, and John Schneider obviously is back with the Blue Jays, who are signaling they are all in this year. I expect Bo Bichette to resign there, quite frankly. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, the A's are playing in Sacramento until their stadium is built in Las Vegas, which is at least another 3 years. So they've got 3 years at least in Sacramento. I'd like to go out and see this park because watching it on TV when the Yankees were out there last year, it looks it's a joke that this team is playing in this stadium. That's all I can say. But at least 3 more years, maybe longer. Whenever the stadium's done, I believe 28 is the target date. The last I heard. Shortly after the A's go to Vegas, they will become a big spending team. You got to have ownership with money. You got to have good teams. Are they going to support them? Again, remember, I'm not a guy who feels bad that Oakland's without a professional team. You didn't support your team. I understand they didn't put a good team on the field. I understand the stadium was awful. But when you had three straight world championship teams in the 70s when I was a young teen, you didn't support them then. You know? They came out for the playoffs of the World Series. So they come out during the regular season. One of the worst drawing teams in baseball. Yeah, I figured that one out, AC. So some interesting moves in the managerial department. Joe Madden, as I said, came out and really spoke out against the Tony Vitale hiring, but I don't hear him screaming about guys who didn't pay their dues. Similarly, like Kurt Suzuki, played in the majors, yes, hasn't managed anywhere. Who's the other guy that I talked about? Craig Stammen. Come on, Joe, shut up. Who cares? Your day in the sun is done. Good job getting the Cubs a World Series. Now go lay down somewhere. Take a nap. What else? Jays did give their president, Mark Shapiro, a new 5-year deal. Things are rosy in Toronto right now. They may sign Kyle Tucker. Certainly better to sign there than New York City, probably. You think so, AC? I don't know. Anything that freaking, Rob Manfred touches. Oh, I'm sorry. This guy is just such a clown. He's still talking expansion. We can't get a decent pitching staffs on the 32 teams we have now. Can we please stop talking? We have 30 teams or 32. Regardless. However many teams there are, there's too many. You should start, and they can't draw. Tampa's in trouble. Oakland's in trouble. Maybe Vegas saves them. I don't know. I'm not as sure as AC is. I mean, you should be moving teams. I'm sorry. I'll take teams away from cities that don't want to support them. Tampa, Oakland. And I know the ballparks are atrocious. So what? You want a new ballpark? You need to support the team. There are cities like Nashville and Portland that are starving for teams. Charlotte. I don't have to expand to 35 teams. We don't have enough good players to go around now. They'll be able to charge the most for tickets and vendors, and it will be sold out every game. You know what? It will be, but they're going to be sold out with baseball fans or people coming into town and getting free tickets for whatever convention they're at. Corporate sponsorships will be huge. Yes, it will be good for the team. I don't disagree. I don't know that it's going to be great for the team itself with support. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't even know how the Raiders are drawing. Are the Raiders filling that place up? Let's find out. Do the Raiders sell out? In Vegas? I'm going to say no. They do. All right, my bad. They sell out every game. They sell personal seat licenses as well. All right. Again, more fodder for trouble. Good luck. I mean, again, there's more to being a winning baseball team than getting fans in the stadium. Okay, Oakland won without fans. They did so very successfully in the 70s until Charlie Finley decided, oh, I'm not paying anybody as the landscape changed and players started to get paid and become free agents. They've had several other starts and stops. Moneyball worked for a while when Billy Beane was there and famously had a movie made after him. Not sure that Billy Beane was all that instrumental in that anyway. It was Paul. He's with the Browns now anyway. Paul, can't think of his name now. So they'll have money to spend. Will they spend it? And you got to spend it well, too. I mean, look at it. The Dodgers have spent money well. Other teams don't spend money well. The Yankees are a great example of that. They have not spent money very well. If not winning championships is all that we're going to judge it on and the fact that you're in contention every year, well, the Yankees have been great. Brian Cashman's been great. Oakland's a dump in an unsafe city. Don't disagree. They also don't support their baseball team and never did. Since the day Charlie Finley moved them there from Kansas City, they have not supported that team. Spurts. And they had really good teams. They would pick up a little bit. But again, when they were winning World Series in the 70s, back to back to back, they averaged like 17,000 a night. They'd have 4,000 people in a seat some nights. On a World Series champion. I know the coolest thing for the Vegas locals is going to the Vegas Knights game. Sports in Vegas just work. It's good. I'm not arguing that they'll fail. I know the Knights are huge in Vegas. And I went to a Knights game out there. Everybody I know who visits goes to see the Knights if it's excuse me, in season. When I went out there when I was still working on a work trip to a convention, a trade show, I should say, definitely went to a Knights game. Had a blast. Yeah, I'm sure the pro gamblers love it. That's what we need is more pro gamblers. And listen, I'm a gambler. And I am not a prude. But baseball and football and basketball, just read the headlines, guys. They need to disassociate themselves from the sports books and the casinos and whomever else they might get in bed with for money. Rob Manfred says they're taking very seriously these gambling allegations against the two pitchers from the team formerly known as the Indians. Yeah, you suspended the guys. What did you do beforehand? You got into bed, just like. And again, I'm sorry, this isn't all about Rob Manfred being a horrible runner of of a pro sports league because everybody's doing it because that's where the money is. But you send a bad message to your players. I'm sorry, you just do. And again, I'm not a prude. I gamble myself. AC, I know, does as well. You can't think it's okay to have these prop bets available for these players that you can bet pitch by pitch. My 15th pitch of the game will be a wild pitch. Once the A's are in Vegas and they sign the top free agent, people will travel from far around the world to see. That might be a little bit. It's different saying I'm in Vegas and I'm going to go to a Knights game or an A's game or a Raider game than traveling all over the world to see them. I mean, who's traveling all over the world to see the A's just because they signed who? Again, we don't know what free agent's going to be available in 28. For all I know, there won't be a league in 28 because we'll have a labor strike, shut it down for 2 years. I don't want to go all negative. Betting sports isn't pro gambling. I'm not sure what that. I see what you're saying. I'm not. I don't think I said it was. Did I? I'm not a professional gambler. I bet on sports. I didn't say I was a pro gambler, so I'm not sure. Maybe you're just making the distinction. If you play poker professionally, well, you're a pro poker player. I'm talking about betting on sports, and you can't deny that. Unfortunately, right now, with the atmosphere in all of sports, that being in bed with sports books is a bad business decision from a fan perspective. They already had the seeds of doubts about games being fixed. I don't believe the majority of games have anything going on. And the big problem is the prop bets. It's not even betting on games. That's hard to throw a game, one guy. But the prop bets, easiest thing in the world to ever fix, ever. I'm not sure I asked for the difference, but I mean, Doc Holliday also would kill people, so I don't think that's going on in professional gambling today, is it? But there's a public service announcement from AC. I'm trying to give you one telling you that pro sports should not be involved with sports books. So AC, I'm not sure the message you're trying to deliver. I'm really not. I'm not deriding gambling. I'm not saying, people who bet on sports the way I do are professional gamblers. If I was, I'd be in the poorhouse right now. Well, it wouldn't be that bad, but I know there's a point in there, AC. I'm just not finding it, so I'm sorry. I don't mean to deride your post. I'm just not sure where we're going here. Let me see. What else? What else did I miss here? Let me check my list. Let me check my little note-taking machine here. You know what I do now? It's so simple. Yeah, I love it. I hate AI and I love AI. I sit there on ChatGPT and I, just dictate things I want to talk about and puts it right up on the screen for me so I don't miss too many things. Although I do still miss things, but it's really pretty cool. Lane Thomas did agree with a 1-year deal with the Royals today. Had a tough year with the Indians last year, injury-wise, production-wise. Yankees and Red Sox among the teams interested in Freddie Peralta, as I talked about. Big article in the Post today about is baseball ready for Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Rick's your guy. He's your mark right now. He's your Huckleberry. Go get him. Here comes. I'd love you to figure out. I'd love to know what you're actually. I'd really love the point we're trying to make here, AC. Before we go, I don't know why I'm dense today. Remember, I graduated from Perth, and I sometimes my brain doesn't always like trigger on all the electrodes all at once. I know there's no electrodes in my brain. I don't think, or maybe there are. But again, that's a function of age and my limited education. I'm kidding. Before I chase all the other Perth people away. Who's out there? Scott Molesky's been watching today. Check out Scott, by the way. I put a post up, and I didn't get myself ready to comment on this today. Let me see if I can find it quick. Let me see if I can play this for you. Scott had, I don't know how long it was. I don't remember. I'm going to play this little promo for Scott here before we go away today. I'm glad Scott's with us today, and I want to give him a little push. I shared his promo. It's a book he's involved with. Scott is involved in working on a lot of projects, book projects, all sports books, mostly that I'm aware of. Let me play this little clip here. I don't remember how long it was now, Scott. I hope it's not too long. But if I can play this, let me see how long it is. Should be short because it looks like a story. How come I can't see how long this is, Scott? How do I stop? How do I make it stop? There we go. All right, so bear with me while I share this little promo, and I'll sing for you. I'll sing for you. Here we go. You ready, guys? This is for Scott Molesky, one of the good friends of this show, and myself. Check it out. I don't have any volume.
I just loved, it's kind of like what I said about the purity. I felt every story was innocent, pure, how baseball impacted them in a positive level. And I loved how it was every walk of life, it seemed like almost every state was represented, but it was every generation. It was all different ages, all different stories. I feel the book itself is a gift. It's like a gift back to the fans. 175 fans told their stories. And I know thousands of fans maybe, will touch them. They will have something that they have something in common. They probably have their own stories, and when they read ours, they're probably like triggered in a good way. Like, this is awesome. Like, that so many people were impacted by baseball on a positive level. You're a fan, and there's these are fan stories, and you're probably a fan of so and so team. That's also represented. And then I would bring up Nick too, because a lot of the reason why I joined it was just Nick's reputation in the business. I just feel he is so prodigious and prestigious, and to be a part of that. So I bet a lot of people that have his other books, this is just another great collection to Nick's books. But again, I think you can relate to this book. It's not a history book, or it's not a book on a certain team. It's the fans, thank you to baseball, a love letter to baseball. Just so my respect for Nick is amazing. I have one of Nick's books signed already before this one, and just to see I was part of one of his books was incredible. And the photography, that blew my mind. And I gave a copy to my father, and my father was like, "This is such an incredible book that you're part of." And I love the photography. I love the layout, just the history. Even the cover is amazing. The cover reminds you of like a baseball pack.
A clip of an interview with Scott Molesky. He's a good friend of the show, good friend of myself, and I follow his stuff. He contributes a lot of work to a lot of these sports books, a lot of them baseball related. This one being My Baseball Story. I hope you guys will check it out and have some fun. AC is saying, I don't know. He doesn't have much of a point. Okay, that's my line. Just that we don't worry about programmers watching sports in Vegas. Oh, that's fine. No, I'm more worried about the problems with players. Listen, there are unsavory types out there. Let's not pretend there aren't. And they will get involved. And then there's just stupid players like, Clase, who was trying to help his friends back in the Dominican, I believe in the Dominican, get $150,000. Well, just give them the money, man. You pissed away $30 million. You just give them $150. I'm more worried about the player. You worry about the refs. I worry about the players, I guess. Literally, the most profitable betting trends are based on who's on the ref crew. Fair. NBA, maybe. There you go. Especially NBA refs. Follow the refs and you'll make money. Kind of like buying the same stocks as someone in Congress. That's a funny line. Oh, my God. Should we do a jingle today, Rick? What do you think? Before we go today, again, the show's here. National Streaming Sports is transitioning into McGrath Streaming Podcast Project, the McGrath Streaming Podcast Project. I got this off perfectly this morning. So today I had trouble. So that's to honor the late, great Mac McGrath. And we hope to get some more logos and videos and whatnot for that. So anyway, a lot of stuff to talk about today. We covered a little slow start to the hot stove season here. Not surprisingly, with the labor issues hanging over spring training, whether we'll have a lockout, whether the new CBA is going to contain a hard cap or not. As long as there's a bottom cap, I'm okay with that too. Not a bottom cap, but a bottom floor. Minimum bottom floor, right? But anyway, we'll pick it up next week with some more. Catch me Sunday, on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, where you guys will carry that show again, because I'm just here to, read your comments and whatnot. And you want the jingle? We'll give you the jingle. The Mac McGrath Keith Engle jingle always gets a good start for people.
Keith Engle, the guy with the sports talk show. On the internet, he's the guy that we all know. If you love your sports, he's the guy for you. He has lots of shows on Roku. Keith Engle with the TGI Sports Talk Show.
Thank you. There's a wonderful dulcet sounds of Mac McGrath. So it's great stuff. We miss Mac, and we won't miss you, though. Sunday morning, or what? That sounded awful, right? We don't want to miss you on Sunday morning with the Stream of Consciousness. Please join me, and I'll be on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock and also simulcast the big football show. So check that out. And we'll be back for more of this show next Friday, probably at 3 p.m. I'll keep you abreast. Keith Engle from TGI Sports Talk MLB Update. See you later, guys.